Imagine this. You've just poured a fresh cup of coffee, its steam swirling upward in delicate patterns, inviting you to savor the warmth before it slips away. You sit down, excited for that first sip, only to notice that within minutes, the heat begins to fade. Have you ever paused and wondered why something as simple as your coffee cools so predictably, almost as if it follows an invisible clock ticking in reverse? This is not mere coincidence. It is a window into the fundamental workings of the universe, an elegant dance of energy that obeys the principles of physics in every corner of our daily lives. Newton's law of cooling is the key to understanding this process. In essence, it tells us that the rate at which an object loses heat is proportional to the difference between its temperature and the surrounding environment. The hotter your coffee is compared to the room, the faster it will lose heat, and the closer it gets to room temperature, the more leisurely it cools. It's fascinating because this law doesn't just apply to coffee. It governs countless phenomena, from the cooling of molten lava to the way your body temperature drops when exposed to a cold wind. But the beauty of this principle lies not merely in its application, but in its simplicity, a simplicity that the great physicist Richard Feynman would have delighted in. Feynman had a way of looking at the world that revealed how every tiny detail holds a clue to understanding the bigger picture. He could take something ordinary, like the heat radiating from a cup of coffee, and unfold it into a profound story about energy, matter, and motion, showing us that curiosity is the most powerful tool we possess. The process begins with conduction, the transfer of heat through direct contact, as the coffee touches the ceramic of your mug. Heat moves from the hotter liquid to the cooler surface, setting the stage for convection, where the warm air above your coffee rises and is replaced by cooler air, accelerating the loss of heat into the surrounding atmosphere. Then there is evaporation, the most subtle yet significant mechanism, where molecules at the surface escape into the air, carrying away energy in the form of latent heat. Each of these processes, so seamlessly intertwined, contributes to a seemingly mundane observation, yet when examined closely, it becomes a lesson in patience, observation, and scientific wonder. The next time you watch the steam curl and vanish, consider the invisible forces at work, a silent narrative of energy that tells a story older than any human memory. Understanding these mechanisms is not just about making your drink last longer or learning a party trick to impress friends with a little physics talk. It is about recognizing patterns, appreciating the beauty of nature's laws, and cultivating a mindset that seeks to understand why things happen rather than merely accepting them. In this seemingly small moment, sitting with a cup in hand, you are standing at the threshold of a deeper comprehension of the universe, one where observation and curiosity combine to illuminate truths that govern every object, every interaction, and every fleeting experience around you. This is where motivation meets insight. By noticing the ordinary, questioning it, and seeking to understand, you take your first step toward mastery not just of coffee, but of life itself. Now, imagine holding that same cup of coffee a few minutes later, feeling the warmth diminishing as the liquid approaches the ambient temperature of the room. It's a subtle shift at first, almost imperceptible, but if you pay attention, you can feel the energy slipping away, molecule by molecule, as though the coffee itself is surrendering to the inevitable pull of its surroundings. This moment is where curiosity becomes thrilling, because it challenges us to confront the hidden mechanics of the world. You might think, it's just coffee cooling, what's so mysterious about that? But the truth is that every droplet of heat lost tells a story of motion, of countless particles interacting in ways both predictable and astonishing. Here, suspense quietly enters the narrative, because once you start asking why, you uncover layers of complexity beneath the surface of ordinary experience. You begin to realize that something as simple as blowing on your coffee to cool it faster is not trivial. It is a deliberate manipulation of energy transfer, a conscious engagement with the laws of nature. When you blow, you accelerate convection, pushing the warmer air away and replacing it with cooler air, allowing heat to escape more quickly. Every time you swirl your cup, you enhance this process, creating currents that transport heat to the surface faster than stillness ever could. And yet, despite these observable tricks, there remains a subtle, almost invisible resistance: evaporation. Molecules at the surface have a chance to escape into the air, each one carrying away a tiny packet of energy. And though this seems insignificant at first, it is precisely these small, cumulative effects that govern the ultimate fate of your drink's temperature. Richard Feynman often reminded us that understanding these small interactions is where the real insight lies, that nature does not hide its truths in grand spectacles, but in the quiet, intricate choreography of simple elements. He encouraged us to follow the phenomena wherever they lead, without assuming the answers in advance. This is where the suspense deepens. Observing something as ordinary as your coffee challenges your perception, revealing that the universe is far richer and more structured than our casual glance allows. Conduction, convection, evaporation. These are not mere textbook definitions. They are dynamic processes that reveal the subtle dialogue between your coffee and its environment, a conversation of energy that is both relentless and precise. And just as the coffee cools predictably, so too do the moments of our lives pass, each one subject to forces we may not control but can observe, understand, and respond to. Recognizing this, we find motivation not in resisting the inevitable, but in learning to work with it, to accelerate or slow processes according to our goals, and to appreciate the beauty of predictability in a world often assumed to be chaotic. In this quiet reflection, you start to see that curiosity and observation are more than tools for learning. They are lifelines for living fully, for engaging with the universe intentionally, and for finding wonder in the most ordinary moments. By paying attention to the details, by understanding why your coffee cools and how it responds to your actions, you cultivate a mindset that transforms routine experience into profound insight, that teaches patience, awareness, and the power of informed action. In the silence of that cup, the suspense of discovery whispers to you, urging you to look deeper, think harder, and embrace the subtle thrill of understanding the mechanisms that govern both matter and life itself. As the final moments of your coffee's warmth slip away, there is a quiet revelation waiting to be noticed, a realization that the ordinary is never truly ordinary when observed closely. Each degree that the liquid loses is a testament to the invisible forces shaping the world around us, a reminder that energy cannot vanish but only change form, moving from your mug into the air, carried by conduction, convection, and evaporation. It is here, in this seemingly mundane event, that Richard Feynman's philosophy comes to life. The joy of discovery lies not in grandeur or spectacle, but in careful attention to the phenomena that surround us every day. Feynman urged us to approach the world with curiosity and honesty, to question assumptions, and to see patterns where others might see randomness. The cooling of coffee, the rise of steam, the subtle tug of heat toward equilibrium, all these are microcosms of the larger principles that govern life, physics, and the universe itself. There is a lesson hidden in this tiny cup. That understanding begins with observation, and observation requires patience, mindfulness, and a willingness to explore without prejudice. When we pay attention, the world opens itself in ways that are both predictable and astonishing. You realize that the process of heat leaving your coffee mirrors the process of growth, change, and adaptation in your own life. Just as heat flows from hot to cold, so too does energy move toward balance, reminding us that resistance is temporary, that change is inevitable, and that understanding the mechanisms at play allows us to act intentionally rather than react blindly. Every swirl, every breath of air over the surface of the liquid, every second spent observing, becomes a metaphor for how attention, curiosity, and effort can accelerate or guide the outcomes we desire. The suspense of discovery does not vanish when the coffee cools completely. Rather, it transforms into insight, the kind of quiet knowledge that allows you to see patterns others overlook, to anticipate consequences, and to engage with the world more deliberately. Richard Feynman often spoke about the elegance of simple explanations and the profound satisfaction that comes from truly understanding a principle, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. Your cup of coffee is now more than a drink. It is a classroom, a laboratory, and a mirror reflecting the principles that govern both nature and human endeavor. It reminds us that curiosity is not just an intellectual pursuit. It is a pathway to motivation, to innovation, and to personal growth. By studying, questioning, and experimenting with the ordinary, you cultivate habits of thought that prepare you to tackle the extraordinary. This is where philosophy, science, and motivation intersect. The recognition that every moment holds a lesson if we are willing to see it, that our actions can influence outcomes in measurable ways, and that understanding the world empowers us to live intentionally and creatively. The next time you pour a cup of coffee, watch it cool and feel the steam rise. Remember that you are witnessing the delicate balance of nature's laws, an unfolding narrative of energy, movement, and consequence. Let this awareness inspire you to approach life with the same curiosity, patience, and joy that Richard Feynman celebrated, to find wonder in the smallest observations, and to understand that mastery begins with paying attention to the details. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.